For as long as I can remember, there have always been men, or boys, I should say, because I'm talking from the beginning here. But there's always been boys and men that never got any play from women. Okay, that never got any play from women, and this is a historic problem. This is nothing new. We just have this wonderful thing called the internet, where these men can join and talk about their problems with women, right? Now, the problem is it varies. It's very dynamic with these men. With every man is a different type of problem as to why he is failing in the sexual market, why he's being left out, why he seems to not be getting the attraction that he would like. And it's really sad. Sometimes I get a little frustrated with guys who complain and whine about women sometimes, but at the same time, I'm always trying to be somewhat empathetic. Somewhat. Notice I said somewhat, because the reason, and I'm just gonna go off the rails here a little bit, just a little sidetrack discussion, sidebar observation here. The reason why I get irritated with these guys is because they come on a channel in a very disrespectful, kind of whiny manner, right? That's what I observe. They're like, well, I'm the, you know what I mean? Well, I'm this and that. And you feel me? So it's like, I'm not getting angry at the fact that they're having difficulty with women. I'm getting irritated because they say it in like a whiny type of way. And it's kind of, that's what really irritates me, right? But back to the topic at hand, still in soul, I try to kind of see their side, so to speak, right? I try to kind of see their side because I have known of these men and boys since I was a kid. That I have always seen the dichotomy of boys who do get girls, right? Because I'm talking in terms of my childhood, boys that get girls and boys who don't. And thing about it is, I can speak from both sides of the fence, fellas. A lot of times in my comments, I get the comment telling me that I have a balanced view, and I love that. I love those comments. They're like, you're not extreme. You have a balanced view. Yes, I have a balanced view because I've seen both sides. When I was younger, man, I would get no play. I was in that no play category, so I know how it feels. I would watch all of my peers, not all of my peers, but the boys who got play. There was a few, and this whole thing of a few men getting all the play. This is not a new concept. This is not a new concept. I've been observing this since I was in school, since forever, right? It would be the boys who got with seems like all the girls that everyone wanted, right? All the girls that everybody wanted, those boys got with them. You can call them the popular boys. You could call them, the stars, the jocks, all that. And they were getting with the females. And growing up, I started getting myself my sex appeal and, body game. Shout out Ron Wills, the body game. I found that out. I found out the body game before, before YouTube was even really popping like that, right? I was in the military. That was my original teacher of the body game. And, shout out to my friends that were in there. They know who they are. That got me on that road. That got me started on my path to the body game. Shout out Dewan, right? Old Navy, a sailor, shipmate, we called it, right? And I was around Marines. Okay. I was around Marines who got plenty of play. And they all had fit bodies. Okay. They all had fit bodies. That was the common denominator. But a lot of guys, right, they're left out of the sexual market value. Well, their sexual market value is very low. So therefore they get left out the sexual market when it comes to women. And let's be honest, I'm just going to go ahead and get this out the way. Now, there's different schools of thought that would argue that looks don't matter. Look, I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm just saying from my perspective, from Tarik's bird's eye view, from my perspective, yes, men who were not born attractive, right? They had issues with women. A lot of them did. Okay? A lot of them did. But yet, to backdoor on this, I've seen some guys that by black pill standards would be considered incels, and they always had some type of chick in some form or fashion. Okay, whether they had steady girlfriends coming in or if they had, occasional flings. Okay, so I'm not saying that looks are just completely, the determining factor, but they are a big factor because I've seen that before. Okay, I would be sitting here and lying to you if I said that women do not care about looks. Okay, I will be sitting here in bold-face fucking lying to you. Okay, so we have that spectrum where a lot of guys just aren't physically or sexually appealing to a large majority of women. Okay, now can they change that? Yes, in some cases they can. In some cases, not to sound pessimistic, but I have to keep it real. I just have to keep it all the way funky. Some can't. And these guys have to take what they are given. Okay? They have to take what they are given. Right? See, women nowadays are very there's no construct to keep them to determine if they get married or not, right? Like there's other countries, especially Muslim countries, that force women to get married, that marry them off, right? That choose the husbands. That say, hey, look, this is your husband, fucking deal with it type of deal, right? We all know this. But in the Western world, at least, this doesn't happen. So women are free to choose whoever they find hot. On the other end of the spectrum, now, this is, I think, where the majority of the problem comes in. Aside from the fact that they physically, and I'm not talking about the guys who can't help it. I'm talking about the guys who can help it. Besides the fact that they are physically unappealing, meaning they look sloppy, they have no sense of style. They don't care about style. They think all you need to have is money, right? That's their thought process. Aside from all that, a lot of these guys have they're very socially awkward. They have no kind of conversation skills, no kind of, they don't know how to arouse a woman when they're talking, right? There's no sexual spark there. There's no charisma there. These some of these guys will be considered the nice guys, or they would just be considered straight up awkward, right? And these guys, they also, they get left out of the sexual marketplace. They have the hardest time with young ladies, right? Because on one spectrum, you have men out here that have body counts that are very high, that are very substantial. And on the other hand, you have these men that have zero, that are still virgins up until their late 20s in some cases. And this is I I believe that this is getting worse because of social media, right? We all know this. We all know that social media, whether we want to admit it or not, it does have a part to do with this. It has a part to do with this because guys that were considered that were considered unattractive back then, of course, they faced the same problems. Of course, they faced the same problems, but it wasn't as severe. It was not as severe as it is today, where women will just flat out say what they find attractive or not, as opposed to back in the day, they would have kind of been shamed for it. But now they just straight out say, hey, look, this is the checklist that I want. And yeah, it does, it gets some men riled up, right? Because it seems very superficial. Unfortunately, unfortunately for men, we've been sold, this lie our whole lives that women are just these precious, only your personality matters, nothing else, right? Nothing else matters. It's just your personality. We were sold this whole women are fairy tale princesses and Cinderella, and they're just so innocent and sweet. So that's why a lot of men, they get very down on themselves, and they get very angry, right? This is also called red pill rage. And the thing about it is, even me as a guy that when I blossomed into myself and into my body, so to speak, I was having a very successful, when I'm talking when I hit my 20s, and my mid 20s is when I really caught my stride, right? When I really caught my stride. Even me as a man that did fairly well with women, right? Did fairly well. And there's always going to be someone that did better. Who cares, right? But I did very well. And in some cases, I did very well with women. Even me, I felt some type of animosity towards, towards the fact that we were lied to, right? Because as I got my sex appeal up, as I got myself in the gym, as I got my style together, as I got my charisma, right, and my sexual confidence up, so to speak, I started realizing that, hey, the reason I was left out of the sexual marketplace in the past was because I was still following this whole societal thing where yeah, it's only about your personality and you have to be this nice, I was still under that impression, right? Even though in a side note, even though I'm in my surroundings, my immediate surroundings in my city, I saw otherwise, right? I saw things that were contrary to what I saw in fairy tales. Okay, like I said, I've mentioned this before, my apartment complex, almost every chick in there was a single mama, right? A lot of the chicks that I grew up with in my neighborhood and in my school had substantial body counts, right? And the thing about it is, society has such a blindfold on us that even when you see it in front of your face, sometimes you just don't believe it, right? Sometimes you just don't believe it. Until I got older, I'm like, okay, yeah, I it's only so much delusion that I can afford to have as a man, right? So a lot of men, though, they never get out of that notion or idea that, hey, women don't care about sex appeal and they're not sexual and all that. And this hinders them, okay? This hinders them. So that is also another huge